The sheriff stood in my driveway, scratching his head, as two animal control officers pointed catch poles at my guide dog, Riley, my truest friend, my literal eyes. I sat trembling on the porch of my lake cabin, my voice steady despite the fear. "He's a service dog," I said. "He's not dangerous. He's trained. He's everything to me." But the HOA president, Pamela Reed, jabbed her finger toward us, her voice piercing. "That animal barked at me. It lunged." I was terrified. Riley sat still, his golden tail swaying gently, his harness clearly marked, "Guide dog, do not pet." An officer muttered into his radio, "We might need backup if the dog resists." My chest tightened. "You don't get it. I'm blind. He's my eyes." Pamela smirked, arms crossed. "Blind or not, your dog's a threat. This is our HOA community. No vicious beasts allowed. And that cabin of yours is a disgrace." Then came the officer's order that broke me. "We're taking the dog." Riley growled, low and fierce, for the first time. What happened next made Pamela scream louder, and it changed everything. I'm Nathan Hayes, 41, a former firefighter who lost my sight in a gas explosion. I moved to this Missouri lake cabin, inherited from my grandfather, and spent a year rebuilding it, nail by nail, into my refuge. Riley, my golden retriever, trained by experts, was by my side. He fetches my pills, guides me through rough paths, and warns me of strangers. He keeps me from falling into darkness. The trouble began when I moved in last spring. At first, it was small piles of HOA newsletters left on my porch, though my cabin wasn't under their control. Then, a note: "Paint your deck the approved color or face a visit." I thought it was kids messing around. It wasn't. Pamela Reed, HOA president with a tight blonde bob and a love for power, acted like she owned the whole lakeside, including my land. One morning, as Riley guided me to the mailboxes, she blocked us. "Your dog shouldn't be off-leash," she snapped. "He's in a harness," I said. "He's my guide dog." "I'm blind." She sneered. "He startled me. Keep him in check." I stayed quiet. Days later, a red sticker was slapped on my door. "Animal nuisance under investigation." Riley never barked without reason. He wasn't just a doe, was my lifeline. I called the sheriff. They said, "HOA has no power over your property. Ignore it." But then came 37 citations, delivered by Pamela herself. Unauthorized fencing, wrong signage, non-standard mailbox color, dangerous animal, barking complaints. I had no mailbox. The shed was my grandfather's old smokehouse. Someone was watching me, noting every detail. I set up motion alarms. Riley started sleeping with his ears up, facing the door. One night, Riley growled, steady and low. I grabbed my cane, heart pounding, and smelled cheap perfume and cigarette smoke. "Pamela, what are you doing here?" I called through the door. "Control that beast," she hissed. I filed a complaint with animal control. I shot back, "He's my guide dog." "You're trespassing," she spat. "Your disability doesn't excuse endangering us." The next morning, Riley's leash was cut, hanging from the porch rail like a threat. Pamela wasn't just a nuisance, she was dangerous. I installed trail cameras. My friend Claire, a local vet, helped aim them at the trail, porch, and the hill Pamela often came from. When animal control returned, they cited complaints about a vicious, unregistered animal. I showed them Riley's papers, his certifications, his tags. They said they'd follow up. They did with the sheriff and Pamela. That's when the porch standoff happened. Riley lunged, not at the officers, but toward the trees behind Pamela, barking fiercely. Everyone froze. A teenage boy stepped out, hood up, a slingshot in hand, Riley's cut leash dangling from his belt. He looked at Pamela and said, "She paid me to scare the blind guy's dog." The truth split open. Pamela's jaw dropped. "He's lying." The sheriff raised a hand. "Let him talk." The boy, Ethan, about 15, muttered, "She gave me $20 to mess with the dog." Pamela exploded, but Claire, pulling into my driveway, held up her phone. "I've got trail cam footage from last night. If this kid was here, it's on there." Pamela's face drained of color. The footage showed Ethan sneaking through the trees, cutting Riley's leash, with Pamela's voice whispering, "Do it fast. Don't get caught." An officer blocked Pamela as she lunged for Claire's tablet. "Ma'am, you falsified reports to seize a guide dog. That's a felony in Missouri." Pamela stammered. "His cabin ruins our community." He doesn't belong. I said, I'm not in your HOA. This land's been in my family for decades. The sheriff nodded. Records confirm it. Pamela was escorted away, yelling, "This isn't over." The next morning, as I drank coffee on my dock, Riley froze, barked twice, and ran. I heard a splash, an engine roaring, tires ripping gravel, then a crash. "Riley, what's going on?" I shouted, clutching the railing. Pamela's voice sliced through the fog. "You should have left when I said." A man's voice joined her, rough. "You said this guy was harmless." Pamela sneered, "He's blind." "That's harmless enough." My stomach dropped. I stumbled to the cabin, hitting the emergency alarm. Riley growled, fiercer than ever. "You're making this harder," Pamela yelled. "Sign over the land. Your cabin's worthless." Then came Riley's whimper, followed by a chain dragging. "Leave him alone," I screamed, stepping off the porch. Something slammed into my side, knocking me to the dirt. "You're finished," the man growled. "We'll take that dog and sue for the bite." "He didn't bite anyone," I yelled. Pamela's voice turned to fake tears. "I warned them about your violent animal." Sirens grew louder. Pamela cursed. "Let's go." The man argued. "Not without the dog." Their car sped off. I crawled to Riley, his harness warm under my hands. "You're okay," I whispered as he licked my face. Claire arrived with the sheriff. "They tried to take Riley," I said. The sheriff nodded. "We saw their car. We're tracking them." Claire found a forged deed by the dock, transferring my cabin to the HOA, signed with a fake notary stamp. "This was filed yesterday," she said. "The notary's on maternity leave." The sheriff sent it to the county. "Why my cabin?" I asked. "Lakefront property," he said. HOA power grabs are about land. At the county clerk's office, Clara, a slick clerk, balked at Riley. "No animals allowed," she said. "He's a guide dog," I replied. "Federal law protects him." Clara dismissed our evidence, saying the deed was mailed anonymously. "We don't check notary stamps." It was a dodge. That night, Claire found Pamela bragging on the HOA's Facebook group about cleaning up spruce pines. A realtor's ad listed my cabin as a lakefront renovation opportunity. The man with Pamela, Derek, was a developer who forced out residents for profit. This was a land grab. The next morning, smoke curled from my porch. Claire screamed, "It's a gas can." The cabin was burning. The sheriff radioed. Pamela's car was nearby. I shouted, "My safe has the original deed." Against Claire's pleas, I moved toward the back door, but the sheriff ran in, emerging with the blackened safe as the porch collapsed. At the courthouse, Pamela and Derek were filing an injunction, claiming I was a squatter. I snapped, "That fire was your doing." The sheriff slammed the safe down. "This is arson, forgery, theft." Claire showed the footage. The judge issued a restraining order, voided the deed, and launched an investigation. Pamela filed a $250,000 lawsuit, claiming Riley caused trauma and unrest. The sheriff played a recording of Pamela ordering the arson to frame Riley. "She's facing jail," he said. At an HOA meeting, Pamela tried to declare Riley dangerous. Claire played the recording. The room turned on Pamela. The sheriff presented evidence, and the vote was canceled. Pamela was banned from HOA leadership. Derek texted, "I'm not done." A news article smeared Riley with a photoshopped image. We fought back with a viral video showing the truth. Support flooded in, and a lawyer, Emily Stone, took my case pro bono. In court, we exposed Derek's land grab, Clara's corruption, and Pamela's harassment. The judge ruled. Riley was protected, the deed voided, Clara arrested, Pamela on probation, Derek hit with charges, and a multi-million-dollar judgment. The HOA's overreach ended. On my rebuilt porch, Riley dozed beside me. Claire handed me tea. "You're famous now," she said. I laughed. "Don't mess with a man's dog, especially when he's his eyes." Across the lake, Pamela's power was gone. Justice won. Riley nuzzled my leg, a hero who saved our home.